Being one of the 6 available jobs that you start off with when you get the wind crystal shards, the thief is not technically the strongest job among the 3 warrior-based jobs that you do get. It is, on the other hand, the most fastest of the jobs, and more importantly, the thief doesn't really need to win battles. Its main role is that of a supporter, not only in combat but also with field abilities that are very useful for the most part, and you'll be getting most of your mileage with the thief overall with this job in general. Not to mention you can get some pretty rare items off of certain enemies if you know where to look for the most part. Hi folks, this is Storm331. We're back to doing our second guide this evening, and we're going to be covering the thief. The thief is one of the 6 jobs you do get available at the start of the game after you get the wind crystal shards. And this job is not really meant for combat. It is mostly support and provide you with field abilities that are going to be very useful throughout the entire game. And of course, being a job like the thief, they do very well in stealing any items that you do get from enemies. Of course, enemies do have access to 2 steals as opposed to 1. So this was the game that actually included the common steal and the rare steal. So if an enemy has usually 1 steal, that's usually considered a rare steal. Whereas if they have 2 steals, the one on the bottom, I believe, is the one that technically, if it's a common item, it's more likely to be stolen. But if they have a more rare item, that's usually the rare steal for the most part. Technically, there are certain percentages that do affect the thief's ability to steal. I won't go over them here, but I will say, though, getting the thief gloves, which you can get in the fire-powered ship, will help you improve your odds of stealing common and rare steals. But it is kind of a war of attrition when it comes to trying to get lift items off enemies, but it's definitely well worth it, and it's also very good to get some pretty good gear earlier on and later on, too. The Thief's modifiers in general, the Thief's gain 1+ strength, plus 16 on agility, plus 2 on stamina, and -6 on magic. The Thief, of course, has arguably the best agility modifier in the entire game of 16, out-edging both Ninja and Mystic Knight by 2 points. But unfortunately, the Thief is not meant for combat. It does get access to boomerang weapons like the Full Moon Ring Blade, as well as Twin Lancer, and among other weapons. But they mostly stick with knives, and technically knives tend to be the thief's best, more important weapons, since these weapons are more geared towards agility than physical strength in general. But then again, thieves are probably the worst jobs to get at the start of a 4-job Fiesta run, because they don't really get access to very good weapons. Of course, daggers are plentiful, but they don't get as many powerful weapons as many of the other jobs do. But that's not the real point you should be using the Thief. The Thief is mostly there to help support and steal items off targets. So you'll be using the Thief mostly just for these things. And there's other jobs that can outdo the Thief in terms of combat damage. But when it comes to speed, the Thief beats them all. So anyway, let's go on ahead and cover the abilities that you learn as a Thief. The first ability you learn on the first level of the Thief is Find Passages. It's a field ability that, when equipped to a job, enables a party member to see any hidden passages that would normally be invisible until you feel your way around those walls. It's very helpful to have in dungeons as well as towns. And once this job gets mastered, it'll be automatically applied to your freelancer. So you won't have to worry about equipping it on any other job unless you're using other jobs. But technically, the Thief's Find Passages ability is always helpful for exploration, and it's always a must, for one thing. Level 2 ability for a Thief is, in older titles, called Flee, but here in the Pixel Remaster version, it's been renamed as Scram. Scram/Flee enables a party member when accessing this ability to automatically flee from any battle in the entire game. If you watch speedruns, you'll probably notice a lot of players use this ability to get away from most fights. Of course, if you're into speedrunning RPGs, most of the time they will use this ability rather than fight enemies most of the time. It's a very helpful ability, but keep in mind there are some monster encounters and mostly boss encounters that will prevent you from using this ability to escape from battles. This ability works identical to the ninja smoke, as it allows you to flee from abilities, but in the Thief's case, Scramble enables you to have immediate access pretty early. So it doesn't matter which ability you use, it depends on personal preference. The third ability you get at level 3 as a Thief is Sprint. Sprint is also another field ability that requires you to equip it on one of your jobs. And like Find Passages, this is also automatically applied to your freelancer upon mastering this job. Basically, it allows you to move more faster on the field, so you'll be able to cover more ground than just walking. Of course, with the Pixel Remaster, Game Boy Advance versions, and other versions outside the SNES version, you do have the ability to toggle the dash ability. I'll show you that real quick. Which means your walking speed is pretty much, enables you to pretty much walk pretty fast as opposed to doing anything else. Oh, there it is. I was looking at the wrong one. Default speed can be set to walk or run. So basically when you have run, you basically have the sprint ability automatically applied without having to equip it on your job. In fact, a lot of people just do that for the most part rather than just using sprint. But for those of you that do play the SNES version, it is definitely well recommended because that helps exploration and getting around much more faster than just walking. Level 4 ability that you get as a Thief is Steal. This is the signature ability of the Thief that you get immediate access to once you switch to this job. And this allows you to enable to steal either common or rare items off targets. Of course, much of the chances of success depends on RNG most of the time, but it does have a percentage as to how, when you could possibly steal off targets, but I won't go into full detail since I have no knowledge of how those formulas work for the most part. But just keep in mind that if you do get Thief gloves, make sure your Thief has it when they, if you want to have a dedicated stealer. Steal is very useful because you can always take these items without killing your enemy for the most part, unlike Mug. And it's very useful. So if you do want to take a very powerful item off of an enemy, you can always use Steal for the most part. And you'll definitely want to make full use of it when you're using it as a Thief or other jobs that you want them to serve as your go-to Thief for the most part. Vigilance is the level 5 ability of Thief, and this basically is another equipable ability that enables the party to avoid having back attacks. This also gets applied to your freelancer once you master the job. So basically what it does is it eliminates any ambushes that would from enemy parties that would attack you from behind. This is if you combo that with the ninja's first strike ability, not only will your party members get the upper hand on enemies, but the enemies can't touch you at all with vigilance applied. So that makes it very important to have someone as your freelancer or a Thief most of the time, because that ensures for one thing to keep your party safe from back attacks, and that's more important during the later parts of the game when you're fighting strong monsters. Because when you get back attacked, your party gets automatically moved to the back row rather than their front, or vice versa. So you have to waste a turn to reposition everyone back to their original positions, while at the same time your enemies are basically damaging you like crazy by then. So vigilance comes in very handy. Mug is the level 6 ability of the Thief, and this is basically an offensive steal ability. You also get the Thief's Knife later on in the game that does the same thing on random occasions. But when your Thief uses the Mug, they'll attack the enemy and attempt to steal at the same time. Now, technically, if you're more concerned about damaging enemies than stealing, that's okay, but most people would prefer to use Steal over Mug because you don't kill your target and you'll be able to get your item off the enemy a little bit more quickly rather than getting the target KO'd for the most part. So it's very important to use Steal over Mug. But if you're more concerned about trying to get offensive play and whatnot, you can also use mug, but steel is probably the more better option of the two. The final ability of the thief gets is at level 7 is Artful Dodger. So unlike Fine Passages, Sprint, and Vigilance, Artful Dodger is not applied to your freelancers once they master the thief job. Basically, what you do with Artful Dodger is give it to any of the other jobs, and they get the thief's 16 agility, and that improves their overall agility and ability to evade attacks, or at least that's what the name applies. But in truth, if you want your jobs to be more faster than anything else, Artful Dodger is definitely the way to go to get them the thief 16. It makes them be able to do more actions and whatnot. So basically with the thief, you want to give the thief abilities that are not geared for offense fighting. So basically, you might want to strongly consider giving it passive abilities or abilities that are more geared to supporting the party in other ways. One way to do it is to give the bard Sing to the thief, and they'll be able to perform Sing. I don't know if that transfers to bard's magic power or not, but if you want them to provide support, Sing is a good idea, but it may not be the best way of approaching things. Of course, if you're more worried about defensive options, giving the thief the Samurai Shidori is also another good ability because that'll protect the thief from getting hit like 50-50 times. So you'll be able to protect your thief from getting physical damage for the most part. Just be on the lookout for magic-based abilities. The ninja's image ability also works pretty nicely with the thief, giving it some more options to protect itself from injury. Very good to have if you're trying to aim for taking off anything off the enemy target while stealing. Now, time magic is pretty useful for a thief because even though return is not very useful, it's actually beneficial for a thief because if you're going up a target that has a very rare steal, but you wind up getting its common item, you can just reset the battle with the return spell and try it again until you take the item you want off the target. So basically, once you get the access to the return spell, you definitely want to strongly consider giving the thief the time magic to use return whenever they so wish. Of course, if you wanted to support it with healing and whatnot, giving thief access to chemist or recovery is also another good idea. Since those abilities don't really hinge off of magic for the most part, the thief can probably make full use of those most of the time. Of course, if you're more concerned about finding pits or whatnot, the Geomancer's Find Pits ability would also play very nicely with the thief's other passive abilities. So if you equip that to your thief, not only will the thief have Vigilance, Find Passage, and Sprint, but it'll also have the ability to find pits as well. You can also apply Light Step on it as well. Of course, the bard also has Hide, so if you're more concerned about protecting your thief, you always have them use Hide, and that'll protect them from getting hit for the most part until you decide to bring them back. And I think that covers just about any notable abilities that would work well with a thief for the most part. So basically, the thief is definitely one of the best jobs to get for your agility modifier for the most part, and you should always strongly consider getting most of your party members mastering that job just for the sake of having better agility when they go back to freelancer or mime jobs. But technically, the thief is probably one of the better support jobs in the game in terms of getting useful items, and also has very good exploration abilities that could be transferred to the freelancer and mime once you do master the job in general. So anyway, we're going to take a small break, and then we'll cover Mystic Knight next. This will probably be the short one because this doesn't really need any explanation. So I'll be right back real quick, and we'll resume there.